King Piccolo was defeated, but at what cost? Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now, this what if is something that not a lot of people really thought about because it was, seemingly, on the surface, pretty inconsequential. What did it matter if Goku lost one little fight that was against his master anyway? It couldn't possibly end in something pretty drastic, right? Well, that's where you might be mistaken. This, in fact, is probably one of the most important matchups in Goku's formative years, nay, his entire life. Without it going the way that it did in the original, things might have ended a little differently than it did in what we got on our screens. This one act turned Goku into someone far more pure and keen to fight for his friends, as well as himself, but mostly for his friends. He just ended up fighting for himself in this scenario. Kinda selfish. So what if Goku defeated Roshi? Oh, which time, Masako? I'm talking about the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. That time which saw Goku and Krillin duel together for the first time in a competition setting, and the chance for the kids to find out what they could do after intense training, you know, carrying milk crates around and running up real high mountains, doing menial jobs seemingly. And of course, this was all for the greater good, we know that, and it provided them important power, concentration, and fortitude. But again, when you're a kid, it doesn't really seem that way. The tasks just seem silly and mundane, but you'll thank Roshi later, kids. Roshi, in the tournament, fought in disguise as Jackie Chun, so as to make his lesson that he was about to teach the kids all the more effective. You are never done improving. Somewhere out there, there will be an opponent who is stronger than you, and you have to be ready to face them. And there is no guarantee that you're going to win against them. And even if you do, the principle still applies. You can never become the strongest truly, and therefore, you must always push yourself to improve and be aware of your limits. Kind of works actually in real life in a way. Goku didn't really follow the rulebook and promptly used dirty tricks, you know, biting, because he does do that, to beat his teacher, and won the tournament. Bad news bears. In the last part, we covered the time when King Piccolo began his reign of fear over the earth, and despite Goku's arrogance changing his overall demeanor, he did contribute in some way into stopping the bad guys, but only because of Krillin being in the middle of it all. He was avenging the only person who had faith in him, seemingly. But not for the sake of the wider population, of course, no. The rivalry between Tenshinhan and Goku, put to one side in the original at this time, is still here and as apparent as ever, and never improves. And despite winning outright, the mood doesn't really improve. Kami is left in a bind because he has two potential candidates to choose from when it comes to his next pupil, and potential candidate for the next Guardian of Earth should his time to step down ever approach. Or if he just didn't want the job anymore, it kind of depends really. Now I did ask you last time around about what you thought might be the better outcome. And yes, I know I forgot about the poll, and I do hold my hand up with that one. I'm sorry about that. Either way, I took a look through the comments, as I promised, and there was a pretty major consensus. A lot of you were put off by Goku's jerkish new attitude, and instead thought that Tenshinhan deserved the chance to become Kami's next person of interest. Quite considerably too, I must say. Let's get to where things are now. The deed is done, and the menace of King Piccolo has indeed disappeared. However, as a result of all of this, Shenron, Krillin, and Roshi are gone, and emotions are quite sour for all concerned. The biggest point to note from all of this is that there are no longer any Dragon Balls to use, since there is no working dragon. Either Kami makes up a new set of Dragon Balls that everyone can use, as well as a dragon to have them be effective with, because Dragon Balls, or does he just simply let them remain inert stones? It's quite literally in the lap of the gods. After distancing himself from his former friends after losing their respect, Goku passes his time by training in solitude. He has slowly gotten over the major hurt that he felt by people not appreciating his power and his strategy, and what he has tried to do for them, he feels really hard done by, and he's slowly making the transition into simply looking out for himself, and what his interests are, and how he can become the strongest there is on the planet. Meanwhile, the rest of our friends are visited by Yajirobe at Kame House. This is quite the unusual visitation, since Yajirobe is quite the solitary person. However, he is true to form, and only here to speak with Tenshinhan. That, and take a gander at, what's in the fridge, because why not?
Really long journey, okay? I am very famished.
So after the chap's appetite has been satisfied, Tenshinhan is given a little bell and is told to come with him to Korin's tower. A little puzzled, Tenshinhan decides to play along and go with what Yajirobe says. But this isn't some mere escapade or anything. This is pretty serious at the time of this story. Yajirobe says that Korin wishes to test him. Test, eh? After the tussle with King Piccolo, Tenshinhan has impressed with his renouncement of Master Shen's ways and his change of heart. Yajirobe then tells him that Korin only wishes to see Tenshinhan and Tenshinhan alone. Bulma lets them borrow one of her capsule corp hovercars, and off they go. On the way up to the tower, Tenshinhan tries to ask Yajirobe some questions, unaware of the guy's disinclination for idle chit-chat. Tenshinhan doesn't usually engage with that behaviour either, but he kind of needs to know what's going on right now. It's important. This is all so new to him. Now when the pair then get to the tower, the Cat Master tests Tenshinhan as he did before with Goku, quite surprised that the monk manages to beat the challenge faster than the young monkey boy. He didn't think anyone could be better than Goku. Goku was a very good new yardstick for any new disciples, but this guy? He was even better. And Korin really liked Tenshinhan's attitude. Much more humble than the squirt. Hey, not bad, bucko. You got some good head on your shoulders. Now why don't you gaze your third's eye up skywards? That's where you're going.
But we're already up so high. What else is there?
Korin nods towards the sky to show that in his mind Tenshinhan is ready. The Triclops looks past the roof of Korin's tower and spots an even bigger structure high above that he hadn't noticed before.
Whoa.
As if things couldn't get any stranger, Mr. Popo then arrives on a magic carpet, since there is no power pole to call upon them this time. The genie leaps down and announces that Tenshinhan is invited to meet with Kami. He has proven himself worthy.
Hey, I already said that, punk!
The Triclops is shocked, but decides to play it cool, but only just.
Oh man, if only Chaozu could see this.
Immediately, Tenshinhan consents that Mr. Popo is much friendlier than Yajirobe, and when asking him questions, Mr. Popo is happy to answer for the duration up to the lookout. Now when the young man finally comes face to face with the Guardian of Earth, he is confused. What he sees isn't a person, a human, but another one of those people that looks like King Piccolo! What is this? What kind of ruse are these goons plotting now? At first, Tenshinhan rushes Kami, believing that this whole thing was a trap set up by King Piccolo. He wasn't gone after all. But Kami effortlessly stops him, telling the young man about his nature.
I suppose I must offer you an explanation. You are half right, young man. I am a part of King Piccolo, but none of his hurtful nature is within me. I promise.
He also explains that he saw potential within Tenshinhan and wants him as his new pupil to study the ways of the Guardian of the Earth, otherwise known as the Nameless Namekian, as we know in Z. Maybe even become his successor if all goes well, who will one day fight Piccolo Junior.
King Piccolo has a son? Yes. King Piccolo hatched a son right before his demise. He is down there on Earth as we speak. A youngling for now, yes, but all too soon he will return and wish to wreak havoc on those who felled his father. I wish for you to be ready for when that time comes. Do you accept my offer?
After hearing this, Tenshinhan agrees, but on one condition. He wants Shenron, and therefore the Dragon Balls, to be brought back. Kami agrees to this, albeit reluctantly. He could see where the Dragon Ball's destiny was going to go after what Goku and friends were doing with them, but his resistance was foolhardy. They would be needed again, and it's best be safe than sorry. Kami promises to forge a new dragon, while Tenshinhan gets himself acquainted with life above the clouds. And as in the original, the radar suddenly bursts back into life. This could only mean one thing, thinks Bulma. The Dragon Balls are back. This caught Bulma's attention indeed, and slowly but surely, Kami revives King Piccolo's victims with the aid of Tenshinhan as they find the Dragon Balls and summon Shenron. And at the same time, Tenshinhan spends 3 years training under Kami. This time has opened the young man's eyes, no pun intended. Master Shen's ways were so much more focused and cruel and closed-minded. It was like the Cobra Kai of Dragon Ball. Kami, though, really allowed for more experimentation and flexibility. Tenshinhan felt at ease up here in the skies, away from distraction and humanity. It was very refreshing, but still, he did miss Chaozu. He would love it up here too. They will meet again one day though. It's time for the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. As suspected, Goku is there, much more rugged and messy than in the original. He would never miss the chance to win the tournament again. You know, he's won it twice before, go for the third, hat trick. And even though he is more arrogant, he is somewhat happy to see Bulma and is very emotional when he discovers that Roshi and Krillin are alive again. It all turned out okay. 3 years of solitude made him a little bit more withdrawn than he is usually, but he is still awestruck by this, by the discovery of his friends being alive again, naturally. The gang are pleased that Goku isn't hostile towards them, and hope that this whole experience might be a chance for them to reconnect and maybe satisfy Grandpa Gohan's concerns about Goku going down a wrong path. They also meet Tenshinhan, who seems almost completely tranquil. Wow, he's so calm and at ease. When he explains where he's been, everyone is amazed that he got to meet what is effectively the big man of Earth. And despite this though, Goku has not changed his opinion of Tenshinhan one bit. However, he can't get a rise out of Tenshinhan. Not anymore. The guy is past that rivalry. He just wants to have a fun time with his new friends. Piccolo Junior is also here, and so is Chi-Chi. She's keen to reconnect with Goku, the Prince Charming of her early days. But she is going to have a much tougher time, more so than before. Goku is even more oblivious than the last time they met, focused on beating both Piccolo and Tenshinhan. Chaozu fixes the numbers like in the original, but in this continuity, he doesn't share them with anyone. We then go straight into the quarterfinals. At first, Tenshinhan fights Cyborg Tao, and while it ends as it does in the original, the whole fight goes about in a very different way. Tenshinhan doesn't get struck like before, and he is able to handily overpower the mercenary in the first minute of the fight. Tenshinhan is in complete control, and there is something quite elegant in his style. His opponent gets completely humiliated, even more so, and Tenshinhan breaks his blade with simply his bare hands, tossing him at Master Shen, who is now terrified of his former student. There is no chance to win him back now. Then it's time for Goku vs Chi-Chi. She asks him if he remembers her, but Goku apologizes to her and says that right now it's not really his concern. But Chi-Chi is just furious by this and even manages to land some punches on Goku, keen to make him remember, but he easily throws her out of the ring. He still doesn't want to hurt her though, but he's much more dismissive than before. She shouts at him that he promised to marry her, but Goku apologizes, saying that he doesn't have time for any of that and that she is a little bit too weak at the moment and he, doesn't want to hurt her by accident, whatever. Her affection is inconvenient, and this gets to her hard. Even Bulma's like, oh, ouch, girl. Goku was trying to be tactful, emphasis on the trying, but being as basic as Goku is, he still hurts Chi-Chi's feelings, who is now pretty angry. No marriage in this timeline, but fear not. From this point on, Chi-Chi decides to train and get stronger, just so that she can beat Goku and prove to him that she is not some sort of weakling. She will get her way. Now in the semi-finals though, Goku and Tenshinhan will face against each other. Goku remarks that he had heard about Tenshinhan's training with Kami from Yajirobe. He wants to prove the Guardian wrong, that he was mistaken by not choosing him, and that he knows Tenshinhan's true nature. He will prove that he is indeed a bad guy. He says that he will win, and then he will take revenge on Piccolo Junior, as it should always be. Tenshinhan says to Goku that he thinks he is a great warrior, but he's got to let this whole thing go. This can't be healthy. Plus, it's so infantile. The thing that Goku struggles with now is that he lets his hunger for victory get the better over him. Tenshinhan knows this. He's been there, and now he's much happier when he realized what martial arts are really all about. Self-improvement and defending the helpless. Goku scoffs at him and just charges straight at him. The fight seems even for the longest time, but Tenshinhan is very calm. He doesn't go for the solar flare or multi-body technique or anything. Instead, he lets Goku show his strength. Then he takes off his weighted clothing and knocks him out of the ring fair and square. This catches the audience by surprise. The defending champion, the two-time defending champion, was out. Goku feels furious and embarrassed, naming Tenshinhan a worthless cheater, but no one is on his side. The referees state that nothing nefarious happened. Disgruntled, he walks away to observe the next battle, what he should have been in. And as we know, it's Kami's disguised as Hero, trying to use the Mafaba against Piccolo Junior. And, just as in the original, he gets locked in his own bottle. Oh well, oops. In the final round, Tenshinhan will fight Piccolo Junior. The beginning of the battle is very similar to Goku's fight with Junior. Tenshinhan also destroys the turban and exclaims that he wouldn't shoot at the audience if he wasn't sure that Tenshinhan would not be able to deflect it. Piccolo says to Tenshinhan that he cares a little bit about those people and that Tenshinhan is thinking too much. Their fight is much longer and much more intense than Goku's fight with Junior in the original, but Tenshinhan is trying to learn his opponent, realizing that he's not exactly like King Piccolo. This guy has some sense of mercy, and in the end, Tenshinhan manages to knock out Piccolo and make him spit out the bottle with Kami. Piccolo is pretty badly damaged, but Tenshinhan decides that he doesn't want to finish him off, telling Kami that, if he could change for the better, so can Piccolo. Goku is mad. Tenshinhan wants to recruit Piccolo Junior. He knew it! He was evil! He rushes onto the arena, trying to destroy the knocked out Piccolo with a Kamehameha, but Tenshinhan manages to block it with his own. The beam struggle is won by the Triclops. He exclaims that he is willing to give this creature a chance, as it's not responsible for the sins of his father. Junior is even given a senzu bean like Tenshinhan. Piccolo scoffs, saying that one day he will regret this decision. Goku finally loses it and walks away from everyone, and when Piccolo gets up and leaves as well, he promises to threaten Earth again one day and that he will come for Tenshinhan first. Tenshinhan and Roshi also convince Kami to keep his position as Guardian, while Tenshinhan decides to open up a new dojo, with Chi-Chi and Yamcha becoming his first students, and then shortly afterwards, his lead practitioners. Meanwhile, Goku becomes a full-blown hermit, training alone, trying to forget about his friends. But this isn't the end. This is just the beginning, and we are very excited to tell you, one day, where those characters are heading in this continuity. But that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? Are you curious as to how Tenshinhan will act in the future? Will Goku end up becoming a bad guy? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going, and I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!